Howdy howdy and welcome back to Gale FFTCG. I'm Serah, your host, and today we're going to be looking at a new mechanic for this set. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to guess what all of these cards have in common. I'll show you a couple just so you can maybe latch on. Anything yet? Well, if you didn't figure it out, these are all cards that generate crystals, a new type of mechanic. I talked about it a little bit in my set reviews, but I thought today I'd give you an in-depth type of rundown of what the mechanic is and how we use it. So, I'll just show you this card, Samurai, which is probably one of the better of the ones because there's a samurai deck and all that, but that's not what we're focusing on. We're focusing on its lines of text. When Samurai enters the field, you gain Crystal. It's just that white looking icon. Crystal is a separate counter that players have. It's not something that can be affected by losing counters from creatures or whatever. It's not a counter that goes on creatures. It is a separate resource entirely. It's not CP, but basically it just sits off to the side until you need to spend it. Realm is a perfect example of this, where her second and third ability say Crystal and tap, search for one monster cost 2 or less played on the field. When it says Crystal, it means that you take away a Crystal counter and you tap. So crystals can be used to pay the cost. When you pay the cost, you will lose that crystal. So you need to have a way of getting them back over time. This is particularly important if you want to build it around this. Some of the early play testing shows that this mechanic is a bit slow for the meta. It would seem. That's not necessarily true. Obviously, this is early days. The set hasn't even properly released. Last week should have been pre-release week. But regardless of that, the crystal mechanic I think is still really important to know. It's going to be interesting going forward. Some other interesting things about the crystal mechanic is that when you may have to pay multiples. So we have Kefka here, that when it enters the field we gain a crystal, and we may have to pay, and we can pay 3 to activate abilities. These still count as auto abilities. They are just the same as, or activated abilities, sorry. They're the same as any sort of thing that you would pay with CP, but you don't necessarily have to pay with CP. There's no specific elements for crystals. It's not like a water crystal or a fire crystal. There is just crystals, and you can use them as resources. There isn't much else to say about them, really. It's a simple mechanic, pretty close to the Kaladesh energy mechanic. If you ever played Magic the Gathering, it was just basically an additional resource that you could potentially pay for things. Really cool mechanic, really cool idea. Not necessarily unique to FFTCG in terms of what it does functionally, but still an interesting mechanic to incorporate anyway. All of these cards are the crystal generators. I will leave a link in the description so you can look at them and have a go at what you want to maybe build with the crystal mechanic. I'll just talk about a couple of the cards I really love that are really great for crystals, starting with Gale, 2 CP EX Burst. When it enters the field, you gain a crystal. 2 CP to gain a crystal seems pretty good, and on damage 3, Gale can become an 8k. Seems pretty decent. Category 6 too, so searchable, just in case you wanted to know. Realm is also the same. When it enters the field, you can choose a forward or monster you control. You can bounce it to its owner's hand if you do gain a crystal, and you can play this with Bismarck and Leviathan and all sorts of crazy, wonderful things. Kefka's really cool, that it just gains a crystal on entry, EX Burst too, so in damage maybe you can gain a crystal that might change the game for you a bit. You can pay 3 crystals, so you can remove crystals from... You can remove 3 crystal counters, or basically spend them, and divide all the forwards opponent controls into 3 groups, and you can make a group of 0 forwards. Your opponent selects a group and puts the rest in the other groups into the break zone. So that's really cool. And obviously all these backups are awesome. There's one in each element. It's like a little bit of a cycle. Rem is amazing. When it enters the field or is put from the break zone, from the field into the break zone, you choose a character other than Rem and activate it. So 2 CP activated character is super good. This was on Althea. So if this is 2 CP and basically an Althea, that's really good. You can tap and put Rem to the break zone to gain a crystal. So basically you can sack Rem, activate something, and gain a crystal. Super powerful. Love this card to bits. Obviously you have Geomancer, Oracle, and Ninja, each one in their own elements, respectively. I talked about this in my set review, but Aquila, I think it's a bit cut off at the top there, but EX Burst, when you cast a summon, gain a crystal, it activates once per turn. All these cards I really like. Lady Lilith as well. I think it might be cut off a bit as well, but remove one forward other than Lady Lilith from the game, you gain a crystal. You can only do this once per turn, but it is an instant speed gain a crystal, so that's good. You can spend crystals to choose a lightning forward. It gains haste till end of turn. You can only use this ability once per turn. 2 crystals, and you choose a forward of cost 5 or less, break it. Really cool stuff. These are kind of the ones I'm most excited about. I think that this new mechanic is cool. We'll just need to see if it can stand up to the speed of the meta, but I think it's perfectly acceptable if you're not playing meta or you're just playing like what me and my friends are casually dubbing the homie meta, where you're just, you're just playing for fun. You're not really trying to compete in anything. I think this mechanic is absolutely fine, and I think it's actually a lot of fun, and I can't wait to start building around it and using it for whatever and trying out some new things. So yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what your favorite kind of crystal generator is, or if there's any cards that are crystal payoffs that you really like and want to see used, or maybe even the deck techs that you'd like to see based on these cards in this new mechanic. But yeah, have a great rest of your week.